Wasn't watching, but
Oh, part of that.
I wasn't paying attention. Sunrise, yes,
No.
I had to have all my hat on my face. Get down, down into here to the courthouse.
It's rough going that way.
That's where my son got. Yeah, he got his about a little over 2 weeks ago. That's what he wants. Live in. You know, they say that your body is reacting to the shot. That's actually a good sign. Yeah. All right, it is 7 o'clock. We'll call the April meeting of the Hartsville Trousdale County Planning Commission to order. Secretary, please call the roll.
I apologize. I was not.
I don't have the names either. I would have been.
While I'm looking for that, I will say, I have a problem. I didn't receive my agenda or anything until today, when I got it. And is that the normal? I had received an email from Rosalie saying that, asking if she wanted me to prepare the agenda, and I told her that I responded in email that I didn't have a problem doing the minutes, and I would submit those by the end of the week of the meeting. And I don't understand why I haven't received an email. It's my understanding the agenda was posted on the website, but why didn't we get an email saying it's loaded on there? That's your responsibility, correct?
Sam and I have been talking about that just a few minutes ago, and I personally told him that I prefer an email, that I do better with emails. How many of y'all would like to have an email? Looks like everybody.
We need it early enough that we can go visit the sites.
Yeah.
Because I drive, but whenever I get an agenda, I drive to that place.
So it was just,
You can't make a fair judgment to me.
so it was discussed last month, and I received an email from a member stating that there's too many emails. So, and
That's the one with that.
then we discussed about putting it on making sure it gets posted on the website 2 weeks in advance, which it usually is, if not a week in advance, because I send it out to y'all 2 weeks in advance. This time, I got everything posted on the website more than 2 weeks in advance. So,
We need that, so, because I looked at it, but not everybody do that.
so
So you don't have.
Yeah, I like that email.
so email or website?
Email.
Or if you can do both. My problem was when you get an email, this is the agenda, and then 2 days later you get, oh, this is the corrected one. And then another day, the next day you get another edition. It's like you get too many. And I'm new, and I apologize for this, but for me, I like to have the information as soon as possible, because it takes me a little bit longer to look at it, and read it and understand it. And
So
it's just, I don't understand why we can't get it. I feel rushed. It's like tonight, I'm not gonna make a decision. I can't vote on anything, because I'm just getting this information tonight. And I don't feel like I can I'm not being responsible if I just rush and vote on something.
So-
I have all the information.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. In the past, everybody's got an agenda 2 weeks in advance, and there are changes that come out. Somebody's changed their mind about something, or GNRC lets me know there's a legal issue, or whatever. We get it fixed before the meeting. Just most of the time, it's just terminology that we need to clarify. So if there's a change, it's not anything that you'll have to look at. It's just wording. But it was all posted on the website more than 2 weeks ago.
Those that, let's just vote right quick. Those that prefer the email system, raise your hand. Looks like that. And I don't think Mark really cares.
I don't really care. I mean, I like to be able to go through it where you got all the drawings. Because typically we don't get, the drawings.
Well,
That's
that's
the
true.
reason I'm.
Well, I mean, this is not saying he can't put it on the county website.
It's gonna be put on the county website regardless, so
Right. So
as soon as he emails it to us, Amy always
you
posts it.
young people are really good at remembering.
Either
I'm just gonna be perfectly honest. Johnny Kerr needs a reminder. I'm afraid
I was checking my emails because I thought, or I didn't know if we were even still having a meeting because I hadn't seen anything. I would check my emails. Like I said, the last email I got was on March the 15th, and that was from Rosalie. Said, you know, are you gonna do the agenda? And I said, I'll do the minutes if you can continue to do everything else, and that's it. That's the last email I received. And so I just
No.
thought,
It's ongoing. You know, when. That doesn't matter.
No, the email to the website would be easiest for
an
everybody.
email with the link on it, and that way someone like me, oh, I can click right here and go right to the website. That's good for me. I mean, again, the reminder is really good for me. I'm just being honest. All right,
I could do the roll.
all right,
John Kerr,
here,
David Noller,
Here,
Mary Ann Baker is here, Rhonda Kiesling here, Dennis Foster. Thomas Harper,
here,
Mark Swaffer,
here.
Dave Thomas.
okay, all present except one, so we do have a quorum. This one may not, if you didn't see your email, but the minutes were sent out for everyone to see. Did anyone not have the opportunity to look at the minutes of our last meeting? Okay. Are there any corrections or additions to be made to the March minutes? If not, I would accept the motion to approve of the March minutes.
Make motion.
Motion by Mr. Swafford to approve the minutes for March. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Thomas. All in favor, say aye. Any not in favor, say no. They are approved unanimously. All right, first on our agenda is some old business, a request by Mr. Daryl Carmen, Kathy Andrews, Karen Armstrong for rezoning approval for about 15.4 acres at an unaddressed piece of property on McMurray Boulevard, which is presently zoned C2, and they'd like to have that rezoned from C2 to R2, and it is in the civil district. We did discuss this some in March and felt like we needed some more information, and I see that Mr. Carmen is here. So no objection to any member. I'd ask Mr. Carmen to come forward and speak about this proposal.
Have copies for those that might want a larger copy. Would you like to? This is the last one I have. I might have to look over someone else's show. That's all, that's all. I've got it pretty much in my mind. Okay. Okay. This would be. There's 5 of us children. Us 4 bought Harold out a few years ago in regard to this piece of property, but that's another matter. So if you have any questions about that, that's fine. Also, last month, it was one of those things where Jim was gonna come, and he thought I was gonna come. I thought he was gonna come, and when you do that, nobody comes, and we want to apologize. We did not want to waste y'all's time in regard to that last month. We didn't mean for that to happen, and I hate it to happen. And what we have here is a 14-acre tract, 14 and 4/10 acres, which is the rear basically of a piece of land of 20 acres that we own out on Highway 25. You have to pass the high school, and then it's about 1,000 more feet, and it's on the left. Real deep hole, right after you get there on the left, and it rises up to a fair 8 or 10 foot bluff, and then another deep hole right before you get to Blankenship, and the body shop that says on the last side of the building. And we tried to leave the frontage C2, so that could be maintaining the integrity of the C2 corridor right through there. But we don't leave C2 all the way to the rear. Matter of fact, I don't know exactly when it changed, but for years and years and years, it was just C2 for like 300 or 400 feet. Then it was agriculture. I don't know what it was at that time, but it was just C2 for 400 feet, and then all of a sudden it became C2 all the way through. I don't know exactly how the maps changed, but that's immaterial now. We would like to develop this into a residential development with the nice homes, it's not any double wide, no trailers or anything like that. And we purposely did not go for R3 because we didn't want any more people. We didn't want to have a lot of apartments or anything like that in the future. We have no idea that we will develop this ourselves. We will be selling this to someone else to do. And so in the spirit of full disclosure, we basically enter in at this entrance, which is right under the power lines, which these power lines are 50 feet in the air. They're real tall power lines. And we enter in and we come to a T, and you're going both directions, we have cul-de-sac in both directions. That's what a preliminary would look like. And also, we've estimated that there would be 48 viable home sites in this, if this should go forward. I'm trying to be just completely full disclosure on anything that if you have any questions about, I'd be glad to answer. But C2 follows residential development. You don't go out in the county and see a business or something where there are no houses. And so this will promote and help the C2 zone out there. I'd also share with you that the C2 zone that's valuable to this piece of property is just 400 or 500 feet between the two entrances. There's a cut, and you've got like 6 or 8 foot bluff. And there's an entrance from the highway on one end of the bluff, and the entrance from the highway on the other end of the bluff. And right there, it's only C2 because no one's going to buy that piece of property and fill it to the highway because it gets 50 foot deep, 30 foot deep on that. So this lends itself much more to a residential development. But there is some good C2 potential there. So we tried to maintain the integrity there. We would appreciate a favorable recommendation going forward to the county court regarding this, and the property will be restricted. These will be nice homes. Another spirit of disclosure right here. Little King Farm, we call him Little King because he's my 45-year-old snotty-nosed nephew, okay? He and his partner, David Gregory, want to buy this and build something on it, somewhat similar to Hunting Hills. Now, Hunting Hills is 5 acres and 3 acres. A lot different, but those style of homes, some of them will be $250,000 homes, some of them will be, he wants to mix it up. And I said, well, we just want nice homes in there. And so I don't think they'll be all brick, but there'll be a lot of brick homes. I don't think they'll be all bound-sided or anything like that. I think there'll be some party homes. I think there'll be some rock homes. They mix them up. But something in the territory that we haven't really held meetings on restrictions or anything like that. So, but anyway, it was a really good job. We wanted to, and I told them, I want this to be a very good development because this is the face of Trousdale County coming from the west. When you're coming from the west, you come in and say, well, look at that sorry development right there. No, we want it to do something that helps the community. Okay?
Does any member have any questions for Mr. Carmen at this time?
Carol, what you have here on the drawing, sounds like the entrance there, is that the current entrance onto the property?
Yes, sir, that's the current entrance right there.
Okay.
Matter of fact, TDOT will require a lot of stuff in the engineering phase of this in regard to water management and everything for that. So we don't have to worry about that. That will take place. We'll be filling in we'll be digging little ponds for retention and those little things that happen down there. Also, it's estimated somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million of just investment for the development of property, roads, sewer, water. It has sewer, it has water, it has gas, it has everything. It qualifies under a very good type of development here. But we would love to get a favorable recommendation going forward.
And one thing, just to note, I like the way he describes little Jimmy. I had him in school. He's not so little Jimmy.
No, he's not so little.
But we know by seeing the houses that he and his partner have built in Trousdale County, we know his work in that type of thing.
No, he does a good job. I'm very proud of him. Snotty nose Mickey.
All right, any comments from members? Yes, ma'am?
We had asked at the last meeting, we discussed the legal description. It's this that you just gave, is this the
No,
legal
that's a
description for this?
This is a picture, yes. We forwarded the legal description. Yes, we
That's,
forwarded the legal description to the planning commission, which is the legal description.
On this one?
Yes, I'm not forwarded.
Sam just put it out.
Okay, I thought that was the one for 230.
Okay,
You describe,
yeah, we're the,
Other questions for Mr. Carmen?
I got one.
Okay.
We talked about this last one, of the 14.4 acres that you're rezoning, how much actually will be left commercial? 5.5.
All four.
So the whole thing is 19 acres?
no, we own, no, the plat shows, if you look on, the plat shows the entire block, 20.07 acres. So there'll be 5.5 acres out front, in front of this, that'll remain C2.
And then you're doing the other 14.
The other 14 are residential. Now, part of that 14, in fact, a good little share of that 14, probably 2 or 3 acres is gonna be roads. Probably an acre or so will be easements for sewers and things like that. But we've looked at it pretty closely. We haven't gone through any final
You know,
development
now
stage.
we require fits in between residential and commercial.
Yes, ma'am. All of the things that y'all require will have to be taken care of. We understand
And
it.
that was during his administration
Yeah.
when that came in. Mr. Carmen was a proponent of that.
I've got the site plan in the office, the proposed site plan, and all the measurements work out. It looks really good. They've,
I just have a couple of questions.
yeah, they've done
No,
the,
that's fine.
they've done the legwork. There should be commercial property left over. I don't think anybody's gonna fill the hole, but still it's there in case somebody does decide they want to. This would, like Mr. Carmen said, it would preserve that commercial strip through there. So we're not necessarily just getting rid of all commercial in the direction that it's already in place. Discussing with Mr. Carmen, I think it's essential that we try to keep commercial through that strip and stop letting it get rezoned. This is the alternative to it. This is similar to what Gallatin does. When you go into city limits, you'll have commercial on the streets, and then right behind those, you have dense residential. This is a extremely good plan, and the way they've done their site plan, it looks really good. I think it's going to be a good subdivision.
Well, if you've got 48 houses there, you've got a really good population for whatever business wants to
No, it's
pop
exactly
right
right.
at the front of it.
All of a sudden, there'll be somebody wanting those lots out front. Yeah.
Like Carol was saying, hopefully the subdivision will promote and recruit
More commercial. that
commercial
direction.
property in that direction and make on that property as you see that property plus the Sulphur College property filling in, people say, more customers.
Yeah.
Well, when you're building those homes and you're running those, a lot of that rock and stuff we put down there in that commercial area or.
Well, yes, you're probably so, but there's not gonna be enough.
Oh, I know.
Matter of fact, I don't believe we'll be doing a lot of rock. A lot of this is gonna be dirt. There's a lot of this gonna be dirt. But whatever field that we'll have, we will put it in that C2 area down there, but we're not covering up anything that's damaged and anything like that. Also, once again, the spirit of full disclosure, down in these real deep holes, now this is on the east and west side of this, down in those real deep holes, is the logical spot to put a retention pond. So we didn't rezone the detention pond here. But there is not a conceivable way in my mind, I don't think anybody's mind, that there's gonna be any businesses down in those holes. People don't put businesses down in holes. So, we'll probably be showing that on the. Whatever the engineer, whatever T-Dot requires.
We usually don't see a piece of property that comes with its retention ponds already built in.
That's right.
It's nice to see.
No, we are.
Other questions for Mr. Carmen? Yes, sir.
Make a motion to approve, move it forward.
All right, I have a motion to move this forward with a favorable recommendation. I do have a motion to move this to the county court with a favorable recommendation. Do I have a second? Have a second from Ms. Keaton. Discussion. Any further discussion on the piece of property at hand? Hearing none. All in favor of sending this to the county commission with a favorable recommendation, say aye. Any opposed, please say no. The motion does pass unanimously.
I'll be glad to harvest any of these back, or y'all can have them all. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Thank you, Mr. Carmen.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
Next, we'll move on to our new business, which is a request by Michael and Hannah Wood for rezoning approval for about 0.69 acres at an unaddressed West Main Street piece of property from R2 to C1. And it also is in the 7th Civil District. And we'll just go ahead and combine these. No, they will. Okay. Would Mr. and Ms. Woodard, either of them here, or anyone here to speak on their behalf? Sam, do you have anything on this?
Yes, let me find a picture. All right, it's, this page with all the red. The two left properties that are left with agriculture. A few months ago, we did the marble company, if you remember.
This is that 0.69. These are not for 5 acres. These are on West Main Street.
Okay, yes, yes, okay. Good. Several. So my understanding, this has actually been bounced back and forth between a lot of realtors on different developers. The C1 that's already there and the person that's trying to purchase the R2 are looking at going in together potentially to do duplexes in here, or like they're still pitching ideas. Their goal is to get rezoned because all of them are for residential or a business, whatever they decide to do. But they want those properties to match so that they will.
You said R1, but it's asking here for its own C.
See. I'll take this out.
No.
So they want that C1 and the R2 to match each other. This is potentially they're going to work together on these two properties to either jointly do residences or commercial businesses. They've looked at a bunch of different ideas, but their goal is to get both properties matching at C1.
Where is this property?
So when you turn, like you're going, when you turn there on West Main and you're going up past the post office, There's two flat lots over at there, one like that same lot, but they're not, they're separated.
Right up above the post office?
Yes.
On the right?
Yes,
Okay, okay,
it's kind of down in
yeah.
the dip area.
We talked about the property where Jerry Ford's cabinet company used to be, there's still a block building.
There's a block building on one of them.
Yes, and that's where the Parcel cabinet originated. And then right up above there was the other lot.
Right, yeah, they're gonna clear those and potentially make their mind on whether they're gonna stick residential or commercial. If they want them, so it's a match on it.
So let me be clear, in my mind, are they asking it to be rezoned R2 or from R2 to C1?
R2 to C1.
Okay, okay.
Somebody going commercial.
C1 will allow to do both residential and commercial.
In your packet, and perhaps another page of, the next page, where is the better committed.
This page in your packet.
So she wants.
So this would give them a broader look at both properties on whether they want to stick with commercial or they can do residential on it. This has actually been a very hot topic. There's been 5-6 realtors trying to sell these properties.
So that'd be the two right here. Where the green one is, and the red one.
Yes.
So do Mr. and Ms. Woodard, do they own the property? I'm talking about realtors and stuff. I'm just wondering who actually owns, who is the applicant?
Don't we use, aren't we supposed to have a copy of the application from her?
It's in,
Um,
it's on the website.
Yeah, just one that I could just myself.
It's on the website.
Who are the applicants? They,
It's listed here on the agenda is Michael and Hannah Woodard.
Just saying.
what's on the website?
Is
On the actual application?
it's Michael Woodard.
Okay.
He's the applicant, he's the owner.
I don't believe the tax records. That takes a while.
Our rules, which have been in effect for a long time, is that only the owner can request to rezone.
Matches.
And you have on the website, the sign, does it have the
Yeah.
application?
No, I just want, maybe it's just what I've pulled up didn't have it.
Questions, discussion? Comments?
So the property to the west, on further away from the town, is that C1 as well? On the map?
Yeah, I kind of wondered like you, Mark, if you go up the road there, you've got, Katie's Old Beauty Shop. And then you go on up and there's that old block building where Jerry Ford and some began the cabinet factory. And then the next lot, is there another lot up above that?
There used to be a lot there where it froze for years.
Talking about LB stop?
Yeah.
But that's on the other side of that road. That's
Yeah.
We're talking about the
That's
lower.
below it. It's above the post office.
Yeah.
So here you go, if you want to pass this around.
Mayor, shed some light on this for us, please.
If you go to the west of this lot, there are two small little tracts there that belong to two different individuals. Then there's another lot that's about the size of this one you're looking at, that the county owns.
Okay, county owns that.
Yeah.
That's
County
what
owns that, that big spot out.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay, got it.
County owns it.
So which one?
There's one more.
The one in the curve there, the big one, there, that's the county's lot.
So if you bring it up on aerial, like the mayor was saying, you can see the post office on here. You go 2 lots up and you've got the first C1 and then the other almost identical square lot is the one that's R2.
And the two right next to that one. There's,
There's C2, or there R2 as well.
so there are two.
Pretty good, somebody did that in.
You know,
All these center lots have been called about the last 5 months when they sold. They're trying to sell them and develop them.
Obviously, we're highly, we're, got people interested in those ones.
That's encouraging. That's encouraging.
yeah, I want to encourage that.
The old church, I went to church up there, the old Church of Christ was up there before we built a new one, and I say new, in 1960, where we are now. And then the jail was up that way, and so, you know.
Anybody that wants to clean these 2 lots up would be.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
Starts restaurant was up there.
Well, it was on the other side.
On the other side.
We kind of skipped you last time.
Yeah, we kind of moved fast. Mr. Dollar jumped on that, Mr. Carmen pretty quick. Mary, why don't we go to you on this?
Just to clarify, there's a few items that are unique to the town council districts. There's no offsite environment, front setback, 25 feet, so still pretty good front setback, but there's actually no side setback required to go to the lot line, unless it's adjacent to the property. For a rear setback, would be 15 feet. If it's not, there's a partial. On one side, they have a rear setback. That is the rear. Generally, the format to, you all aware of that, is the only district, or that district, activities in that. Property is just a block outside. Keep in mind that this is really kind of.
Yeah.
So if you do this with that, it's not too far away. Too far out from this kind of expanding.
Questions for Mary? Sam, have any comments on this?
I think the biggest question is, you've got that C1 zoning with the 2 R2s in the middle. You know, was that specifically requested? That's something Chuck answered the vendor a long time. Or if that was just done.
That very well could have been done long before we had done it. I said that there's been other buildings up that way.
There's houses, there's a house.
Yeah.
The county.
Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna be, if y'all approve it, you'd be putting a C1 next to a C1, so I don't see a problem with it. And if he's willing to clean that lot up and develop it, whether it's business or residential, I believe either way, it'll improve the area.
Questions for Sam?
No, on property on 25 that we were trying to get the C1 to help that gentleman out, where we got caught in this whole, it has to be in the downtown area. Mr. Jewell was very explicit on that we couldn't do this. So I'm wondering, since we are outside that area, are we going to be able to expand that? Is that something the commission will go along with?
Well, this is in the old urban
It is in the
service
old,
area. I mean,
it is.
that area is just, it's really no different than once you get on down here in the town.
And I agree with that. I'm just thinking of what we've already gone through with the others. Is this going to be close enough that?
I think his biggest issue was, even though it doesn't specifically state, it's an assumed out there, that was a main highlight, and this was intended for downtown.
Okay.
This will help out. I'm sure that is,
So I have, from what I'm seeing here, I have no objections to it, other than, is it just going to get shot back and then?
Well, if it does, we'll deal with it at that time.
Okay.
Mayor, do you have any comments?
I don't think there'll be an issue, because it is so close to the actual downtown. The other one was way outside of town, and I think that's where the issue comes in. This one, if you get on there and hopefully we do some of the sidewalk projects, I hope we do in the future, it'll be connected by a sidewalk downtown. So, I don't see there being a problem. It's so close to downtown, I don't see it being an issue.
Okay.
personally, I think it helped draw some interest. But also,
Hopefully.
People down here or business, either one.
So if you get people close to downtown and living there, and we got residential here, got residential over there, that should hopefully spur people to buy these commercial properties or renovate the commercial properties. But with some of the programs, hopefully we'll be bringing in the future to try to spur more of these observations. That will be another reason to bring something down.
I agree. Questions for the mayor, for Sam, or for Mary, or just comments in general? Okay. We have before us then a request by Michael and Hannah Woodard for rezoning approval for about 0.69 acres on West Main Street from R2 to C1. What action, if any, would the commission like to take?
I'll make a motion to approve. To send with a favorable to the
Okay.
commission.
We have a motion by Mr. Thomas to send to the county commission to rezone this property with an approval from the planning commission. Do I have a second?
I say,
Second by Mr. Nolan. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say no. It is unanimous. Okay, moving on. In new business, a request by George and Lisa James for rezoning approval for about 10 acres at unaddressed Highway 231 South property from A1 to C1, and it is in the 6th Civil District. Your name, sir?
Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones is coming forward to speak on this. You have the floor, Mr. Jones.
Richard Jones representing James, and this is 10 acres on 231, zone A1, requesting C1 zoning to do some commercial activities, of course. Quite a few listed there, we used some of them, and we saw a plan, I'm sure, of proposed, so we can get a little bit of handle on what's going on. It's got several things we'd like to do, including the automotive repair business. He does need a first in the back, which shows a yard for automotive, not a junkyard, but for temporary storage for automobiles that will be in your body shop. And then we have some commercial rental lease type buildings to be used, and then the front remaining commercial. And, of course, it has to be septic out there, plenty of water, well, there's water main. But we'll have to have septic and detention, and that's also shown on this preliminary plan. Yes.
I believe you mentioned towing.
We could have repairs, we would have towing. The yard will not be just a tow yard, but it will be a storage yard. So there will be cars that you towed out till at least summer.
Well, you're talking about cars towed in, and also they have to sit there until they can get repaired.
That is correct.
That's what I said.
That's correct. If you go back to the body shop,
Yeah, just like anybody.
right. So it wouldn't be a towing business operating. Car repair, several things are listed there down in the, sales and probably, what else want to? Sorry, didn't bring more.
Well, now we're passing that around, let's go to Mary. Y'all want to turn in your package to Mary's comments?
Thank you pretty much for all my comments, so I'll just run through them all, here's some questions on the parcel. Probably start what I know, two properties to the south, 26.7, reason C1. Properties to the north.
You're up.
However, the plan also states that rural areas are not what can be used as commercial residential. But it needs to be less sense and should be taken care of. Well, moderate is a lot. For the zoning district, they made it to what you like. Permitted by right and special exception. Those are all very long list of dimensions. Represented in that area. So there's a few other items that are allowed with special exception to more than it goes. Class. Other conditions for the property. So in my take on the zoning request, D1 zoning is consistent with the growth plan and the zoning district regulations based on property location on 31 South. This is pretty consistent with the other two zonings that we had last year. So this request is not to.
Okay, everybody know where we're talking about? Up by the,
Very end, I kept.
right down from the old horse ring, which is now a marble plant.
Well, we're looking at it on his iPad.
So this is south of the 25.
It's where that long concrete.
Is this the lot with the barn on it, or between the barn lot and the?
Yeah.
Yes, so you got the giant pond on one side, these two lots are in between the pond and the marble.
2604, is that, how's that sound? The property to the north.
That's
It is,
A1.
look on the zoomed in photo that Mary's got in our packet here of the zoning.
there's gonna be like.
It's- Majority of the lots actually see.
So, like I said, I think this is probably a situation where they just went through and said, okay, let's start. Really, it's still really selling. Parsons to the south still has.
As you move on south, I think there's more residential going in there, but
Yeah.
as you get closer to the four-way stop there, I think that's a natural commercial area, in my opinion.
I think years ago that they made like 5 miles each direction there, or 4 miles, or 3 or 4 miles each direction. Big commercial.
Something like that, but that's been so long and people have changed things. Questions for Mary? Sam?
I think it fits, with what they're requesting for, you got all on one side, you get the full right now, so. I think it's just gonna keep developing there. We've got the gas station and hopefully we can bring around soon. We're still working with them on the engineering side.
Questions for Sam?
Not so-
Right? Oh, I'm sorry.
Not so much for Sam, but just in general, looking at this, it fits, C1 does fit the area. My only concern, I mean, the drawing looks great, the way he's got all the parking and the building up front and then any detention areas and stuff towards the back of the properties. But we've got no way of holding that. I mean, this could just as easily become a junkyard as it could become anything else. And we've got a really good residential housing just south of this. Is there any way that we could, in ordinances or regulations already set, that we would be able to enforce some sort of screens or whatnot? Because you've got, there's all commercial there, but just across the street, you start getting into some residential down through there.
Well,
There's the.
Yeah. Because I fully can back that, but we all know they have the right to change that as soon as we change the zoning on it. They can lay it out anywhere they want to.
they do, I mean, once you get the engineering done, that type of thing, but.
Yeah.
I don't see how they can operate
It
a
does.
body shop without
Yeah.
stolen cars.
No, and it's
Somewhere. I just don't think that's possible.
Ain't there towards the back of that, ain't there a power line from to that?
I'm sure there are pretty good ways from there. I'm sure go back far enough at all, but I don't think they're that close to. Y'all notice any big power line?
There's one on the ring road, that each neighbor has one of those back.
Okay.
I can't build big switch station down there, some probably.
Yeah.
It's a ways away.
The big lines were there before that.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at the Tennessee property here, you can see the power lines, they go across the property directly north.
Big and high tension.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing that too.
Mayor, do you have comments about this?
Well, I know the talk about residential, but there is a residential, well, it's got a house on it, the property, the two ones, 2604 and 2603 directly north of it. According to the zoning map and the real estate assessment data, that's all C1. Directly across the street is the Taylor Farm, so that's all C1 as well. Directly south of that is the Sumner Grant, so that's C1 commercial, so you don't really have anything residential other than this one house right here directly next to it.
I mean, that's just one of those things that you're gonna run into, you gotta get really close, but that close is, you know. I mean, you can't get much closer to Carroll and what they're doing, so, you know, it's just hard out. But they do not abut any residential property. Other questions?
Does that help?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
Does
you.
that help? That's close to it, you don't want to do.
It's all surrounded by C1 property, what you know, what you said, Mike.
It is, and the house is closest to it on the north side.
North side.
It is C1 as well.
If you read on this C1, everything that touches it except for the back side is on the C1.
I think it's a fit.
That answer your question, Thomas? All right. Other questions for Mary or Sam, Mayor or Mr. Jones? All right, hearing none, the applicants, Mr. and Mrs. James, have asked for rezoning approval for about 10 acres at this site on Highway 231 site. They would like to rezone it from A1 to C1 in order to operate their business. What's the will of the planning commission?
I'll make a motion that we send it to the planning board with recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion to send this to the Trousdale County Commission with a favorable recommendation. Do I have a second?
I second.
We have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. It is passed and will be sent on to the county commission. Thank you, Mr. Jones. All right. Moving on our agenda, last month, we talked somewhat about two-family dwellings. We talked about how we were going to discuss this, think about it, and come back and give further discussion on this tonight as to what is a two-family dwelling, that type of thing. So I know that everyone's done their homework. Sure, Sam has some comments he'd like to make.
Well, I just had a packet, and I've been doing extensive digging through the internet, through my code base, and on the, I know they're stapled where the printer on it, stapled for me, and they printed on, stapled on the right side, I don't know how, I'll figure it out. On page 2, if you look on the highlighted portion, the International Residential Code actually specifically answers our question. Two-family houses, parentheses, duplexes. So the code book that we're using gave us our answer in that one. It's never mentioned anywhere else. Like in the effective use of the International Residential Code, when it gives you the summary, it defines two-family houses.
And that is the IRC is what we are currently using.
This is what we are currently using.
Does that pretty much satisfy everyone that a two-family home is a duplex?
I've dug through all the other books. Got lucky and found that in the description on the front book.
I mean, that makes sense to me. Mary, do you have a?
No, I mean, I was just back at the, and all the others, what I've done in the past month, and then talk about other people. Is. Granted, it's only residential for whatever reason, so, for example, for one of the, I think, best course of action would be to understand that we're interpreting it as we look moving forward and not bothering to change it right now. Hopefully that, the whole resolution. Yeah. So that the interpretation for the moment. Two readings and everything for language change.
Does anyone have any other interpretation to a two-family home that they had come up with that they would like to discuss?
I will point out, just so we go further, that last month I showed everybody what each ordinance said. And in the city limits, in the Hartsville zoning ordinance, it actually has the exact same format, where it says two-family homes, parentheses, duplexes. But our county does not say that. And there is nothing in our definitions that explains it. So, but code book, which is what I have to go by, it's specifically those duplexes. So, if international residence code is assuming two-family duplexes, and that's good enough for me to get black and white.
Is everyone affirmative on that? So moving forward, our definition will be that, hopefully the town will add that to their. Okay. We do have Sam's report here, report from the building inspector. If you don't mind, Sam, I'm going to take number one. I did come to the last county court meeting where they discussed the centralized mailboxes and the sidewalk requirements. And they were discussed at length. And Mary, you and David, I don't remember something right, don't let me, but really the only, I talked about the safety aspects of it, and really everyone agreed with that. The only issue that seemed to come up, which we don't really talk to, is who's going to pay to repair the sidewalks in the future. That was really the only issue about them that was ever raised. There was no issue raised as to the need of sidewalks. As a matter of fact, the ones that I talked back and forth with, they all agreed that they were a good safety issue. I mean, you know, we're good for safety, that type of thing. So that night, they said that they were going to forward that to their zoning committee. And I believe it was yesterday, Landon sent out an email that they're calling a meeting of that. I think that might be, is it next week? I can look on.
It's on a Wednesday.
On the 21st at 6 P.M. I believe.
So on April 21st at 6 p.m., that will be discussed. If any of y'all would like to come, I had told them that I would come, but all the support I can get would be greatly appreciated, and we can discuss that. And again, it looks like what it's come down to is a payment, a pay issue. And so I would think the discussion will come then to the homeowners associations or the county. And afterwards, Mary Ann and I and David actually had some discussions with Landon about that. One of the things I told him was that you know, sidewalks running in a subdivision increases the value of the property that it runs in front of. So if it increases, in my opinion, and we could ask the tax assessor this, but if it increases the value of that property, then that property owner is paying more taxes, which could be used to fund a separate line item in the budget for future repair of the sidewalks. And then, of course, it could be that the responsibility is put on the homeowners association, that type of thing. But as I tried to explain to Landon, this committee doesn't speak to funding. That's not in our purview. And that's a decision of the county court. And so like I said, we'll meet the 21st at 6 o'clock and see what we can hash out there. But again, anybody that had the opportunity. Mayor, where's that meeting gonna be?
We'll be here at the courthouse.
Okay. So probably will be right up here also. Okay, Sam, you want to go on with the rest of it?
I would like to add to that,
Sure.
They wanted to know how much it was gonna cost the contractor to install them as well, which was one of the questions I got, which I gave an answer to. They also, as Mr. Kerr wanted to, mention that they mentioned was who was gonna take it over afterwards. And they were also concerned about us increasing HOAs around the area. So that was the three questions that they came up with, and they decided that we need to discuss it further. Number two, Project Patriot met for a luncheon, inviting key county officials and potential businesses. Basically, we have just gonna let y'all know that we potentially have businesses coming down to the Kenzie Valley Authority area. And it looks very promising. And hopefully be several businesses until they actually break ground. I don't think I should mention what they are.
Well, they read about it.
Are they? Okay. Well, never mind.
I saw about it, you know, they were interested.
In my position, I gotta keep a lot of things quiet in the office because I don't want somebody to beat somebody else to the punch. So it's only been told to me. So, but yes, we got business coming in. Looks very promising. Hopefully it's gonna be a lot of jobs for people in this county, especially the tech school. So, it's something that we can all look forward to.
Sam, to your point before about the HOAs, the concern of the commission that that's being increased. Technically, the answer for that is it's not us and anything we're doing. The federal government did that when the post office said you've got to have the communal mailboxes.
I brought that forward that
I mean, that automatically puts an HOA right there on every subdivision.
something's gonna pay for it.
Well, you know, we as old Southerners.
Oh, no, I
Me
hate
especially,
HOAs.
I'm talking about me, that's why I'm really reminded. But you tend to have that ingrained thought process somewhat against that. But the people that are moving, they're pretty much used to it. I think they're used to sidewalks. I think they're used to HOAs. I think they're used to a lot of these things that we would normally rebel against. But the answer is simple to that. If I don't want to deal with that, I don't buy a lot in that subdivision.
And I'll be honest, one of the reasons I've stayed in Trousdale County is because there are so many HOAs in Wilson and Sumner. But once again, that it's out of our hands.
But you make that decision as a family,
Yeah.
whether you want to put up with that or not. Nobody's forcing you to do that.
Yeah.
That's the point I was making, and you know, that's
And there's
pretty
various,
simple.
there's varying strengths of HOAs. Some just take in a bunch of tree line items, the postal box or the sidewalks. Gallatin has tons of HOAs, and some are very strict, some have no rules. They just need the money to maintain the areas. So not all HOAs are bad, some are.
And correct me if I'm wrong, those can be restricted by the subdivision builder when it's, when it's done, correct? As far as how aggressive an HOA can become.
Somewhat, but I think as the builder moves on and the members take over,
Yeah.
then
Maybe that could
we
help.
see the commercial with the
Yeah.
person going around with the chainsaw, you'll mailbox a half an inch too high. And that's the visual that we get from that, and that type of thing. But my youngest sister lived in Memphis and she was within an HOA. They would, anything on the outside, if the shrubbery needed replacing, they'd replace that, they paint the roofs, they paint the houses, whatever. I thought that was going too far for me personally, but they liked it, so.
I lived 3 years in a townhome in Gallatin with 5 units and that little group, and then there's 5 and 5. The HOA, some of the funding for that is tornado comes through and blows your shingles off and you're in the middle, everybody's roof gets redone in the 5, so we all match. So there is good things about the HOA. Everybody will get a good rate. So it match.
I just want to make sure that it does go on record that it's not the planning commission pushing for HOAs. We're just dealing with what the federal government is now mandating, and someone's got to pay for those mandates.
And I just see this as an option that the county court may want to use to manage a potential funding problem down the road. That's one way to do it. I think there's several ways to do it. But, you know, that's for them to decide.
And if I'm not mistaken, we had this conversation in the meeting before we sent it.
We can,
But like you said, we're not a funding, committee. It's not for us to make those decisions.
but, you know, it would be good to bring ideas and to bring things to that meeting. Because we might be running up, I don't know how many of your fans of the Seinfeld show, the old show Seinfeld. You know, his parents lived in one in Florida. He made a comment in an episode one night that he was down there and he said, these people moved here just so they could enforce these rules on each other. You know, and so the show was making fun of HOAs and stuff. And so like I said, that's a lot of the way I look at them, because that's the only thing I know about it. But actually, the people that I know that have lived in them, they actually serve a pretty good purpose. Go ahead, Sam.
Building permits are averaging normal, 3 weeks going, they should be picking up significantly. They hope picking up this month higher than expected, whether it's weather or I don't know, it's been weird all year. They haven't slowed down, but it's not all around. So they'll pick up one month and drop off another month with the show. But that's my report on it. They're still pushing forward. We're still getting a lot. We've got 3 subdivisions we're getting ready to plan for.
Other than the two, Sulphur College and the farm,
Sulphur College got sold, so somebody has that now.
but development.
The developer has that now. So hopefully that's going to take off here shortly. I haven't heard from the guys behind the administration building, but they were hot and heavy on getting all the engineering done. So I'm assuming I'm going to hear from them one day and they're going to do that same day. But they've got all their approvals for that. The city's already put the sewer line in, and they're pushing the back of that. So they're ready to break ground and get up to it. And then Mr. Farwell was enormous, 48 homes. Once he gets his zoning passed, like he admitted, it's pretty much already sold.
We all know little Gene, when they get a piece of property, they don't let it sit.
They pull 4 permits at a time.
Yeah. They tend to move on with their property.
And they've started expanding Acorn and Hickory Ridge, so they're running up the hill now.
They
Coming
did,
to road right now.
whatever.
Oh, wow.
They pulled
On
off.
Jason Ford.
Jason's.
Yeah.
They started the road.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And it's a mess of rock through there right now. It's
Well,
like-
it's gonna get out
They had rock up there.
They get the bulldozer out there getting the road ready.
I will say that all the houses that have been built in there so far have all sold. And so now there's only one house in there for sale, and it's one that had been built, and for whatever reason they're moving out. But all the houses, all the new houses within, well, the one that's lasted the longest was this last one because it didn't have a garage to it. But I mean, all of them have been selling within a couple of months of him finishing them out. So
The one that's for sale now doesn't have a garage.
no, the last one that he finished, yeah.
I will say the houses that are being built are, the majority of the time, or not, but the majority of the time, they're sold before they're finished.
I do like that our builders are doing concrete driveways, sidewalks, and what is being built is very nice, very nice. What I consider, I'm just, be driving by looking. Looks like they're doing, and of course, Sam.
I've seen the guys, we got good builders around here. So, we're gonna have issues of why they do that.
Sam, did the development behind the Baptist church, did that fall through? And we improved all that, but it's still gone nowhere.
It's for sale.
So guys,
The
rezoning,
the 6 acres, 8 acres?
that's a lot.
That property that's directly behind the First Baptist Church, You enter it from, was that Melrose?
Yeah.
That 10 acres.
Yeah.
There's a for sale sign there on the road, yeah.
So I probably had, I'm getting irritated with that property because I probably had 40 realtors call me on it. So it's under, they're trying to sell.
Oh,
And with every realtor, I have to go over all the restrictions that were put on it. You know, what can go on it. That's a lot of conversations. So. But it is currently being sold. So some of our local builders are looking at
Because the way it was engineered, it was going to be a really beautiful, and they had retention ponds mapped out for drainage and whatnot also.
what I hear, the cost of the utilities getting ran in on the street and all that stuff. Shot up.
That's what probably happens when you're building behind the things that are already built up. Mayor, do you have anything to report tonight?
Just like Sam said, you know, we've got promising prospects out of Powercom Park. They are talking to the industrial board about possibly getting a payment for a tax thing set up to bring in here, and potentially could be 3 businesses. What it is, they're really big about reshoring things that are overseas. One of them they're really passionate about is producing penicillin. But they said right now, currently, the United States produces 0 penicillin.
I agree with them, we did.
So they're looking to do that, and they're very happy to be here. They're very positive about coming here, and they told us flat out they want to be here.
If
But
they need someone had tested on, Mr. Nolan would be great. Give him a shot. If he lives, it's not penicillin.
we're very hopeful for that. It looks very promising, so we're hopeful for that. And we're having a meeting, I believe, tomorrow for the consulting group that the industrial development board hired about doing downtown revitalization. I have a meeting with them tomorrow, so that's something we're looking forward to. And then for the sidewalks, you know, if we walk around town, especially when you get off of the streetscape, or particularly around Total Image and some other areas, you can tell those sidewalks need to be redone. Probably want to bring to the county commission soon about retaining a civil engineering firm. I had talked to them before about just hiring the one that the highway department uses, but we've contacted them 4 or 5 times. This is not going to work out. So we're going to look to go in a different direction, but hopefully we'll get an engineering firm and then start putting together a sidewalk rehabilitation plan as we go forward in the next few budget years. Go ahead and start redoing some of those sidewalks. We do make ADA requirements and have our handicap ramps and all that stuff put in place that we don't have now. And hopefully use that along with these other initiatives to really start revitalizing downtown. So we got a lot of things in the pipeline, and I think some of the county commissioners asked me what kind of projects we're looking at. And, I've got a spreadsheet that's got approximately 60-something projects, so we're gonna be pretty busy.
One thing, now that things are blooming, and people have gotten a little more used to it, you know, I don't think it's a right, it's prerogative for us, Trousdale County, to fuss about something for at least 6 months after it's done and put in it. But now that things are blooming and we're a little more used to it, it looks really good out here. The main point there is we get more used to it. Yeah.
It's definitely that's the walk.
Mary, there was one complaint that I do have. I would have really liked for them to have done just a little patch of concrete that connected the sidewalk over here by the memorial to the parking lot of the community center. So when you're parked there and eating at Hartsville Taco, you don't have to walk through the mud to get to the sidewalk.
Maybe some stepping stones.
Just something
like they did.
Crowd Works might look into.
Well, the little grass area was outside the project area, so they didn't do anything there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that qualifies as what's growing there now, grass. It does, yeah, it does, because I think taco right ahead business does really well. Don't get in the way of people that are hungry.
That's true.
Anybody have anything else to come tonight before we adjourn?
Have a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn, do I have a second? Have a second? Thank y'all.
Well,